What games have you spent literal months of your life on? Cities Skylines. It has no real end, you just slowly grow and refine your fictional city and its story until you get bored with it. Then you imagine a new city. That game just confused me. I'd get about 200k people and then everything would go to shit in seconds. It gets real hard, man. Halo. Halo 2 was the reason Xbox Live caught on. It was so crazy to play an online game with decent matchmaking on consoles back then. Best level system in the entire franchise, GTA San Andreas. I've never been so immersed in a world that I would do anything from riding my bike, to flying a plane, or even dirt biking the desert. This game had so many elements in a world that I can also shoot rockets while doing all three things. Fucking classic game and in my top 5 video games of all time. San Andreas and Vice City were fucking unbelievable when they came out. SA had a lot of cool stuff that they never used again, like the turf wars. Forever waiting for Rockstar to pick that game mechanic back up. Best gang war simulator, ever. Duh, Pokemons. My wife got me a Switch, so I thought it would be cool to bust out my old Pokemon Sun and transfer all the mythical and legendaries I'd collected into that game. Turns out it's a UK 3Ds, so I can't connect the Pokemon Bank to my US Switch Pokemon Home. Not to worry, I can trade everything onto my wife's US 3Ds, and connect that to home, but wait, Pokemon Sun crashes every trade and won't even boot up half the time? Well, after 2 weeks I'm 130 Pokemon down, 90 more to trade. This is going to be a month-long project before I even play Pokemon Shield. Skyrim. Skyrim on Switch is like crack for me. I put about 170 hours into it while I was off work due to the shutdown. I want more games like that on the Switch. When we saw the commercial when the Switch first was announced, my roommate on the other couch just looked over wide-eyed and said, "Bro, Skyrim on the toilet. Mount and Blade, Warband. Specifically the Prophesy of Penda mod. What a game." Edit, my most upvoted comment is about Warband. Thanks. Same for me. I have 4,673.3 hours according to Steam, and somewhere between 2 to 3,000 of those hours are in pop. I have to force myself to play other games, and recently I've been successful, as I haven't touched Warband since July 23rd. I know I could easily get back into it anytime. I think Terraria, Team Fortress 2, and Minecraft. Edit, did not expect so many replies. In case some people are curious, my playtime is 1984 hours in Terraria, 1782 hours in TF2, and I don't know how many I have in Minecraft. I started playing a little before IndF, so quite a while. I had to scroll too damn far to see TF2 as an answer. Between 2008 and 2012 I was consumed. Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, and I hate myself for it. I wouldn't say I hate myself for it. The one thing I would really like to do is find a community of non-toxic people who are at my skill level. That way I wouldn't have to sit through 45 minutes of Russian conversation every time I start the Solok. Skyrim, Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2. I didn't think I would have to go this deep to find The Witcher. Diablo 2 LOD still runs in the background of my PC to this day, so what is that, 20 years? Who wants to do some bail runs? Send TP. Minecraft. I build huge complexes and mansions in creative mode. I have a couple of individual projects that each have over a month's worth of hours. Yes. I had a single-player hardcore world that I started when Tridents were new. Sadly, after about a year, I forgot to check my elytra durability. And went skydiving. Sims 3, Sims 4. So many hours. Edit, just wanted to add because I'm sure people who play can relate. It's a game where you'll play all day for 3 days and then not touch for months. Yeah, The Sims is a life sucker. I have something like nearly 4,000 hours on TS4 since I first got it, and no, I'm not a streamer. Not proud of those numbers. Edit, the games are also huge money pits. What's insane is that it's a completely single-player game too. Spending crazy amounts of time on an MMO or shooter with your real-life friends or even just online acquaintances is one thing, but to spend countless hours just building and playing virtual lives for virtual people completely by yourself is another thing. And yes, I'm an avid simmer, so I get it. League of Legends. I have owned the game for 3 months, and have the gameplay of 1 month. Get out while you still can. Yeah, lol is a cruel mistress. She abuses me and I continue to come back to her like a battered spouse. Add me if you want to join in my suffering, infamous Chris. Civilization series. I'll go from playing every day for ungodly amounts of time, to taking months or even years off before I touch the game again. That is so weird. I do this exact same thing. I have no plans of ever playing it again, but sure enough I will relapse and go on binges. Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4. I walk the desert of New Vegas a lot just to clear my mind, like a walk in the park. Doesn't it just make you wish for a nuclear winter? Club Penguin. Had more friends online than real life. Apology for bad English. Where were you when Club Penguin die? I was at house eating Dorito when phone on Club Penguin is kill. No. If I could upvote this twice I would. Super Smash Bros. Franchise. Easily. And also sadly because I still suck. I've spent years, not months, of my life on Smash Bros. Melee back when I was a wee lad. And much like you, I still play like an 80-year-old discovering the GameCube controller for the first time in his life. The original Legend of Zelda. Back in the day we had to figure out all the game secrets without the internet. It was a glorious time. I had Link's Awakening, and I gave up when I couldn't beat the Eagles Tower. A year or 3 later, GameFAQs was a thing and I finally learned how to use the wrecking ball to take down the pillars. Edit. Since this reply blew up, I wanted to introduce you all to the concept of sequence breaking. In the Zelda games, when you obtain a new tool in a dungeon, it often also functions like a key on the overworld map, making new areas accessible that weren't before. The power bracelet can lift boulders that were in the way before, and the feather can let you leap small pits. You can leave a dungeon before you've beaten the boss and progress the overworld story. In some cases, you can beat bosses out of order, even using the weapon you obtain in the next dungeon to beat the boss of the previous dungeon with fewer hits or less hassle. Link's Awakening is a lot more fun in the last few dungeons this way, and you can get the Master Sword sooner if you do this. That was hard. I played the Switch version and had to Google that after an hour of trying on my own. RuneScape, me too. I still have that old $5 membership price. I'm one of those people who play RS3 not because the graphics are better but because I just never stopped playing. Still have my 06 account. Smile. Borderlands. I haven't played 3 yet, but I have every character from the first few max to Opus 8 or so, some, like Sirens, several times over, and that had to take months. Edit. Haven't played 3 because I play PC exclusively, all built from 95% used parts, and therefore my rig is at least 4 to 5 gens old and so are my games. Also I suck at FPS so they take forever, which is just fine by me. Borderlands 3 is an amazing game and you will love it, but Borderlands 2 will go down as the best game I have ever played. Especially the Tiny Tina expansion. I feel like 3 has the better gameplay but 2 is just untouchable when it comes to story. Tiny Tina's DLC really hit me in the feels. Paradox Games, Ki and 3, UIV, Stellaris. Ki has the longest hours I've logged for any game in my Steam library, well over 1,500. Stellaris comes in second at around 700. Before that it was the Total War series, specifically Shogun, Medieval, Medieval 2 and Rome. I eventually graduated onto modding for stainless steel for me. I spent more time modding than I did playing, but still racked up the hours because it became a game in itself. Edit. Thanks for the awards, guys. I'm flabbergasted I had to scroll half this thread to see a Paradox comment. Paradox players too busy fighting coalition wars to comment on Reddit. World of Warcraft, not months, years. I had over 600 days of in-game playtime from 2004 to 2017 when I finally quit. Edit, holy shit, that's a lot of awards, thank you fellow addicts. Relate to this. Played for so long from when it was first launched. I don't regret the friendships and memories made. But I do wonder how differently my life would have been if I had spent that time differently. Wow, that is a real and big statement. Cribbage. Been playing my dad for 40 years and he can still beat my ass. My dad learned to play as a kid from his grandfather, and they'd bet a penny on each game. Sadly, my great-grandfather passed away relatively young, in his early 60s. My dad taught my brother and I to play as soon as we had the requisite math skills, and I grew up hearing lots of stories about my great-grandfather, whom I never met, while getting absolutely thrashed at crib by my dad. For Christmas about 10 years ago, my dad would have been around 50 years old at the time. My great-grandmother, by then in her 90s, gave him a bag of pennies with a handwritten note tied to it that read cribbage winnings from my dad's name. He had kept every penny he'd won off my dad over the years they played. The only time I've seen my dad cry harder than he did that Christmas morning is when my great-grandmother passed away a few years later. Bri didn't come here for the sad feels at 4:47 AM before going to work. Factorio, there you are. Edit, you/meticulous bastard only had one upvote as the sole commenter with Factorio after thousands of replies. Had to dig into the comments way too far. And there they were, standing alone, with their stark, monolexical reply adorned with no trivialities. Just the pure and simple truth of the one true game. Modern Warfare 2. I'm surprised I had to scroll so far to find this. Literally every day with friend after school, and all-nighters/weekends etc. great times. Destiny 2. It has its problems but there's still nothing else like it on the market. I got tired of it, but I'm inclined to agree. It's got a special experience to it that I haven't seen in other games. Some expansions are better than others. Binding of Isaac. Came here to say this. You excited for December 31st? I'm not sure I'm prepared for the time that I will surely spend diving deep into Repentance, but I know it'll be amazing. I was hospitalized for a while and I bought Stardew Valley on the first day I was discharged. One of the characters, Shane, was in a similar situation, so I spent my entire recovery period playing that game and getting better alongside Shane. I have around 800 hours on the PC version, but I think I'm well into over 1000 hours since I also own it on other platforms too. I'm playing Stardew Valley right now. I didn't notice anything wrong with Shane, he's just a little grumpy. Did they update it and take stuff out? He's a hardcore alcoholic. TF2. The one with the hats. Titanfall 2 as well too. All the Mass Effects. Does this unit have a soul?